Oh my gosh. Look at this beauty. Somebody's been to CarMax. Look at this beauty. Somebody has picked up a beautiful truck. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Maybe I'll call her Miss Laura.
I'd hang myself.
Oh my gosh. Yes, if anybody even heard that little bitty snippet, he's watching the breakup again. Again. I took a little bit of a nap on the couch. So I have news. And I did something. I was gonna do a video yesterday, but I was so tired when I got home. Because not only was I gone the morning taking care of this business, but then I drove it places. Oh, I just gave it off. I show people what I did. I did that. I'm nervous as a cat. I'm not nervous like, I'm just not nervous because I would never try to do a car note if I couldn't financially afford a note. But it's just, I haven't paid a car note and I think more than 15 years. Or maybe about 15 years. Because the last car note I had that I paid on was a Dodge Intrepid, and I loved her. She was beautiful. She was that burgundy red, like the red truck I have. She only had she was like really, like even newer than this, because she was a newer model when I bought her, like like a year old or something. And literally she had like 15,000 miles on her. She didn't hardly have anything on her when I got her. And I paid her off, and I don't think back then they did 72 months. I think it was just 60. But I did it one step, what is it, 24, 48. So I guess I did it in 48. I did it in 48 months because I just don't like having a note. You just never know when, as a single mom, you never knew when something was other things were gonna need to be done, and you didn't want to be tied down with a note every month. And so I just care to not have a note if I don't have to. So the little red truck, when I bought it, I don't even know how many years ago I bought it, but I bought it cash. It was from a car dealership, but it was not a dealership. It was, you know, one of them kind of dealerships where they buy them at auction. But it was a good vehicle. It's the truck, the little red truck's been a good truck. The AC has a situation right now, but now Tony says he wants the red truck. So he's gonna pay me what I was gonna act, because I debated on having the AC fixed, because I just feel like this. We're in Texas. And some you guys that know, you guys that live in hot states, you know, we're humid here because, you know, we're just, you know, an hour from the water. It's just hot here and nasty and sticky and ugh. And no one wants to drive a vehicle without air conditioner. You just don't. Not especially if you're a girl, especially if you have a couple of kids. You don't want your babies in the back seat. And I get that sometimes it's a necessity. I've had vehicles in the past without AC. At this moment, I have a red truck without AC. I have not taken it to see what's wrong with it yet, but what I was thinking was, depending on what it was going to cost to have it fixed, whether that's one of those pulleys that Steph's dad said it was, the pulleys were making noise, whether it's a pulley, I just felt like, I feel like it's like Freon and stuff like that. I feel like when you get in them, it's a gradual thing. And this wasn't gradual. This wasn't like I got in it one day and I thought, don't feel as cool today as it normally does. But you just keep on going about your business, because if you put your hand up there, it does feel cold. It's just not as cold. And then maybe the next day it feels even warmer. And then all of a sudden one day it's not cold at all. But this was, I drove it to the Tractor Supply one day and it's freezing ice cold like it's always been. And it sits for 2 days, don't go anywhere. Then I drive it across the street to get gas for the lawnmower and it's blowing hot air. It's blowing hard. The little fan is blowing hard, but it's not coming out cold. And these are mosquitoes flying all around me. Can't even come out right now. So anyway, I was debating on what I would ask for the truck, whether I lowball it, price it really low just to get rid of it and let them somebody else deal with the AC, or go ahead and have the AC fixed and then ask a little bit more, depending on what it was going to cost to have the AC fixed. And I haven't even checked it yet, but Tony says he'll pay me what I wanted to ask for the red truck, and he'll fix the AC, because he's got a little friend of his that's a mechanic, and he'll do that himself. So that's and then I don't gotta, the Durango he drives, Tony drives the Durango. It was mine first. I bought it cash. It was a really good vehicle. I don't know how it is now, because I don't know if Tony keeps up like you would hope adults keep up with their stuff. I do 3,000 miles. Sometimes I don't even quite get it, but I think I'm going to get it if I've got to take Debbie to Houston, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to hit 3,000 miles while I'm on my way with her, so I'm just going to go ahead and get my oil changed now. I do that kind of stuff, because I just want to make sure it's always done. Leave him alone. Jensen going to chase after Buddy. Hey, baby. Jensen. So anyway, I've been saving and scrapping and trying not to do anything extra, and just, save. And I come across this one. I have that Carfax. I don't think I downloaded anything. I just, it come across on something. I gotta do something else with, hey, why don't we get in my truck? Let me get the keys. Okay, so anyway, I've been saving and watching, and this thing called Carfax, I looked up, used it, I think it maybe come across my Facebook or something, and I looked up some certain cars, and it's trying to connect to this phone, but this phone is not going to connect like that. So anyway, so I put in some criteria, like how you're looking for this and you're looking for this, and it slowly started narrowing it down. It was like learning what I was looking for. So it was like, it would only show me Ford 150s, GMC 1500s, or that size, the Dodge 1500. It was showing me, well, it didn't always narrow down mileage and cost like I put in, because sometimes I would have to adjust that. But I was just extremely, I was like on it. Like every morning when I'd open my email, that's the first thing I would go to, was my new email from them, and I would look at the new vehicles that had just come on the market. And something came on the market. I can't remember. I don't remember if it was this. I want to say it was this, but I honestly don't remember. But when I opened it and scrolled down to see the dealer, because there's some dealerships I just won't mess with. Like oh my gosh, now I can't even think of that dealer. This completely went out of my head, but there's one dealership I won't mess with. It said Carfax. I mean, it said CarMax. And so I thought, well, I'm just gonna go look. I said, that's a pretty decent price. You know, Mom has gotten not the car Mom drives now, but most of Mom's vehicles have been CarMax vehicles, and they have not been brand new. They've been 4,000 miles or less. Even some of them have been less. And so and then it's real funny, because I'll tell y'all a story. One time when I wanted the Intrepid, it was right after shortly after I got divorced from Levi's dad. And Levi's dad did me a little bit wrong on some stuff. And so I had a lot of things that were in my name that I didn't know that were in my name. And probably because we're married, I would not have cared. But when we got divorced and things started not getting paid for, and I was getting notices on things that I didn't even know we had. So I'll just say this, my credit wasn't all that great when I said, I've got to have another car, we've got to start looking. And my Uncle Richard said to go to this place where he had went, and it was not a big dealership, but it was also not, you know, those little ones that pop up on the corners. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Sometimes they look like there used to be like a gas station there, but they gutted it and turned it into this little car lot that holds like 20 cars. And then their little building, which was an old gas station. Yeah, okay. Well, there's those places all over the place. This was not that kind of a place, but it wasn't a big dealership. But they only dealt with low miles and a certain year within a certain year. So I went down there to look, and I fell in love with this Intrepid. And it had very low miles, and it was like just like a year old, or not even quite a year maybe, or something. And I love that car. I got in to start doing the paperwork, and my credit wouldn't carry it. I had the money because I had it, you know, I had my full time. I was driving a bus. I was making good money. That was when I worked for Cleveland. So Cleveland paid really, really good. Splendor didn't pay as good as Cleveland, but Cleveland paid really good. I was making good money at Cleveland, and just driving a bus. And I had child support for 3 kids. So, you know, I was financially okay to get a vehicle to pay a note, but my credit was shot. And so Mom, the car ended up being in Mom's name. I paid the note every month, but Mom financed the vehicle. Okay, so let's go 2 years or 3 years down the road. Now my credit's like pristine, and I've taken care of everything, and I worked my butt off to take care of all that I was left with that wasn't mine. But I needed to get my credit straightened up. You know, it's very important, your credit. And she wants a new car. So she calls me, and she tells me, I'm trying to think, we had our computers then, but we didn't have cell phones. If we had cell phones, they weren't the kind where you could send somebody a picture, I don't think. Anyway, I can't remember. But somehow she sent me this, or told me to go to the site. So I went on my computer, and I pulled up CarMax, and I pulled up the Hyundai Sonata. That's what she was looking at. And she said, but Kim, I know I'm not going to be able to do it because I have good credit, but I'm going to be upside down. You know, it's like you're not trading anything, but what you have on your credit, what you're paying right now is not good. So she has my car on her credit. So I said, okay. So I went. So as it turned out, Mom was driving a car that was in my name, and I was driving a car that was in her name. It was so funny. But I loved that car. But I paid that off, and after that, I never had a car note. I paid that car off and drove it until I had some motor problems with it. At some point, something happened, and we had it. And I actually took those people to court because they charged me so much money to fix it. And then my friend David brought it to me. And when he brought it here, I was like, that's not running right. And he goes, what? And I said, listen to it. And I said, that's not normal. And so we put it back in the shop, but not with that same person. And those people, whoever it was that looked at it for, and I don't remember now, but they said I had a bent piston or something. And that's not even what it was in the shop for. When it had the issues with some stuff going on with it, when we put it in the shop, it wasn't in the shop because it had a bent piston. So I took him to court, and I won that. I won that court because he wouldn't fix it. He basically, because David picked it up and drove it here, he said they weren't fixing it, they weren't liable. But I took him to court, and I won that. But I just sold it after that. Put it right out here by the road and sold it. And then I'm trying to think, what was I driving then? I had the blue truck. I drove it. I'm gonna get this blue truck fixed up. I told Mom, I said, it seems silly to say I'm gonna fix it. I said, but I want to know that I put it back on the road again. I did it because it's needed so much. It's needed, like Daniel tried to tell me, he goes, you know what that means? It means it's nickel and diming you, and you need to get rid of it. But when the blue truck stopped, well, right now it won't start because it needs a battery. But my windshield wipers went out, and then the motor to the door, because it's electric, the blue truck's electric, the motor stopped working in this door, then that motor stopped working in that door. Then the headlights were doing something weird, like you couldn't drive it at night because your headlights might just, you turn the lights on, you're going to run to Walmart, but it's dark already, so, you know, you hate going that late, but you got to go, so you're going to go real quick, and you get almost out of Plum Grove, and your lights just go off. To the point that you have to push it in, like you push it in like you're turning the lights off. So you push it in like you turn the lights off on your own, then you pull it back out like you're turning them on, and they would come back on. But you might go 2 minutes and they do it again, or you might not do it again at all. So it just got to where those little things, and it was making it where I didn't drive it as much, because you couldn't drive it when it rained because the wipers weren't working. You couldn't drive it when it was hot because the windows wouldn't go down. And I didn't have a good mechanic, and it's horrible when you don't have a good mechanic that you can trust. So anyway, I don't know what I drove right off the bat after the Intrepid, but I feel like it was the Durango is what I went and bought after the Intrepid. And then I just had the blue truck, and I had the Durango. And then I sold Tony my Durango because I wanted a pickup. And I sold Tony my Durango. Well, he needed something. I was taking him back and forth to work, or either he would drive the truck sometimes to work, the blue truck, and saving his money for something. But he was looking at things to me that was making me angry because they weren't going to be good cars. And I know it was his money and it was his decision, but you have to remember, when his decision messes up, he's over here borrowing something of mine. And so I wanted him to find something good, and he had a decent amount of money to pay for something. And he has good credit. He could have just, but he don't want a note either. So I turned around and said, okay, you buy the Durango from me, and I'm going to take your money, and I'm going to go buy me something. And something, so he was all for that. It was like, that was a relief to him that he didn't even have to look at vehicles. So I ended up with the red truck. Went to Houston. I found it online and went to Houston and got it. And really they had really nice vehicles sitting up there, but they probably only had about 7 vehicles on their whole lot. But I paid cash for it and drove it home, and it's been a good truck ever since. And it had, remember a while back it had transmission problems, but I had that replaced, and now it's just got the AC problem. But it's small, and that's when I found that I hated it. It got to be like a dread when Mom wanted to, like, can we go in your truck and look at this chair? Can we go in your truck and look at this coffee table? Because no matter where I went, if Mom was with me, that put Levi in the back seat, and the Dakota just doesn't have a big back seat, and it just bothered me so much that I felt like his knees were up in his chest. So I've slowly sort of just been looking and looking and looking, and I knew I didn't want to get rid of the Expedition, because when I want to get in that SUV for some reason, like it's raining or it's this and I'm gonna go pick up groceries or something, I'm gonna go in that. If I'm doing a big load, just things like that, I would just do in that. And I don't feel like I want to be a household with just one vehicle, because that puts you in a place where it doesn't, I mean, it just takes 1 second. Like, I could leave the lights on in this and it don't start tomorrow morning because I left the lights on. It's just something that fast. And what if I had somewhere I had to be? I could say, okay, I'll charge the battery when I get back because I left the lights on last night, or left the door cracked and the light stayed on, and run the battery on. I mean, all these little things can happen. Doesn't mean they have to be big things, but it could be just enough to put a hitch in the situation, like you got to be somewhere. So I just don't want to be the just one vehicle person down here. I feel like I should have 2 just in case something happens. I just feel that way. Maybe it's dumb to feel that way, but I feel like that. Because I told Mama, I said, Mom, if you want to, you can go outside and get in Daddy's, in the van, and go somewhere, and Daddy still has a vehicle, because recently the Rogue was put in the shop, if y'all remember that. But so we went and picked up groceries and had the oil changed in Mom's van, while they had that in the blue van that Daddy drives now, the whatever that is, Caravan. But when Daddy wanted to go somewhere, he wasn't left out, because he just got in his black truck and went somewhere. So I told her, I said, you have an option to get in something else. I won't have that option. Then I'm left to, will you take me here or will you take me there? And I said, I don't want to be that way. So anyway, so Tony is going to buy the red truck from me, and he's going to have the AC done on his own. And he hasn't given me the money for the red truck yet, because actually I didn't even talk to him about that till I got home and called him for it, because I was looking at insurance and I was thinking, should I change insurances too? Because now I've got a full coverage vehicle with 3 liability vehicles, and because the SUV is liability, the red truck is liability, and the Durango that he drives is liability, and now full. So I'm thinking, well, maybe, because Mom said I need to check into AAA. So I'm using Progressive right now. So I thought, well, let me check and see. So it wanted to know the odometer readings on the vehicles, and the Durango is the only one I didn't know. So I called him, and while we're talking, I tell him, Tony, I got a new truck. You ought to come look at it, blah, blah, blah. And then he asked me, what are you doing with the red truck? And I said, I told him about the AC, and I said, I'm going to see how much it's going to cost to fix the AC, and then I'm going to determine what I'm going to ask for the truck. And so we talked for a little bit, and he goes, well, Mom, I'll just buy the red truck from you. And I said, you want to keep the Durango and the red truck? And he said, yeah, that'll give me 2 vehicles. And he says, because the Durango's got a lot of miles on it now, and I've had things kept up on it and worked on, and it runs good, but he goes, you never know. And I said, well, that's up to you, you know. So that worked out that way. But that morning, I don't know what morning it was. I think, well, it's actually been a couple of mornings back. It was like last Thursday when I seen this on the CarMax website, and I put a heart beside it where you can save a vehicle, so I could go back and look at it, you know, and maybe compare it to other things. And then I compared it to a Dodge that the Dodge was the Laramie, which is, now Dodge has something now called Bighorn, which I think is like, I don't know if it's their highest trim or it's, I don't know, but I know the Laramie used to be the high trim. And I don't really worry about trim, stuff like that. But since I've had the Expedition, and it's all leather inside, and it is just the easiest thing to clean. And so to get leather in vehicles, you're sort of paying a little bit more money. And so I was thinking, well, let me just look at, so I compared this Dodge and this Ford that I'm in here. The Dodge had 68,000 miles on it. That didn't bother me. So let me clear that up, because I had put in my search mileage. I didn't want to buy anything. I didn't want to pay a note on anything that was more than 75,000 miles. I know that I don't put very many miles on a vehicle, so buying something with 75 was still going to go a long, long time for me. So so this came in as 68. But it was a 2014 too. So when you divide 68,000 miles by 10 years, that's not very many miles a year either. This came in at 3,000 miles a year. That was coming in at what? Almost 7,000 miles a year. So I was just like, well, that's really low mileage too. But this was better low mileage. And if you didn't look at the outside, the insides look almost identical. They were all this cream, this tan interior. The only thing that the Dodge had was this console right here was the dark. Seems like the dash is this dark brown with this saddle stitching. Okay, well, in the Dodge, this was dark brown with that round head saddle stitch in it. It's really pretty. And then it had a little bit, some like newer things that you see, even though it was a 2014, it had newer things like in the console, it had the USB port, but it also had a plug, like your outlet in your house. And then I was like thinking, well, sometimes some of that stuff is just something else that could go out. You know, I think like that too. I'm thinking like, I guess Daddy put that in my mind. All that extra stuff's just something that can go out. And I know that. So, but what did it for me, I guess, come Saturday morning, well, come Friday morning when I woke up, and I thought, you know, the mileage that I do, even if I drive 10,000 miles a year, and I don't, but say I do, that's still very low mileage. Most people drive more than that. Even if I did that, I would have this car, this one, if I got this one, I would have it 3 years before it hit the mileage that the Dodge is right now. So, I love Dodges. I always have. And it was really hard to say I'm not even going to look at that vehicle anymore. I'm going to go for this one. But I loved this one. It caught my eye. It was so clean outside, so sleek and clean outside, and so clean on the inside. And it's like the sister to the Expedition, because she's white with the gold or the cream tan, whatever trim at the bottom outside, on the outside. So side by side, they look like I went down and bought two vehicles that looked exactly alike. One's an SUV and one's a truck, which is sort of cool. But it, you know, this could have been another color and had the same mileage, and that's what, but it just happens to be white with the same trim color as the Expedition. So Miss Eddie over there, the Expedition is an Eddie Bauer, so I call her Miss Eddie. So Miss Eddie over there has her sister right here. I have to name her. I don't know what to name her yet. So I'm just happy with her. But yeah, I have a car note now. I hate having a car note, but now I have a car note for. I did it. Well, CarMax actually financed this one for 66 months because it's 10 years old. Well, he told me that. He said it's 10 years old, so we might not get any other banks, you know, outside financing to take it. But he said no matter what, if they don't, he goes, we'll take it. So I ended up financing it with CarMax for 66 months. So I've got it, and it's pretty, and I've ordered some things for it. I ordered a trash bag. I ordered a backseat little small like travel pillow, because I have all that in there in my Expedition, and Levi's always got the pillow leaned up somehow, somewhere. Especially like when we're doing the Houston stuff with Debbie. And so I ordered a trash can for the back, a little pillow for the back, a basket to go underneath the seats to hold my wipes and paper towels and things like that that I keep in the car. I ordered okay, so evidently Fords have something called Sync, and I didn't know because my Expedition doesn't have any of that stuff in it. So any of this new stuff. So I didn't know, and when he said, do you want to sign up, you know, like you have to do a subscription for Sync. I think supposedly it comes with the vehicle for the first 3 years or 7 years. I don't know exactly what, but I just know that it's 10 years old now, and you don't get all the stuff. This computer on this screen right here can, what am I looking at? Right there. Can do so much more if I subscribe for the Sync stuff. So I can get my phone calls through the phone and everything. So the only thing I'm really not getting is like my navigation, and I use my phone for navigation anyway. So I'm not really too worried about that. But I got a phone holder because the cup holder, I didn't want to do one on the mirror on the window like my other one. So there's, this thing will hold 8 drinks. I'm not lying. There's, in that drop down thing right there is 2 cup holders, and then there's 2 cup holders down here if you pull it out at the bottom underneath this console, or 2 more for the back seat. That's 4. Then I've got 2 right here, 2, and down here this pulls out down here, and there's 2 more. So I don't want my phone sitting in this cup holder, because if I'm trying to look at I was thinking, you know, if I put a cup there, one of those cup phone holders, if I put it there, then I'm driving and I'm having to look at my camera like this to listen or to see. So it's best to go down here, but this is so low. I brought my little ruler out and opened this and sat my ruler in the cup holder, and I'm thinking, well, that needs to be about 16. I needed a cup holder with a neck on it that was at least 16 inches that would put my phone up where I could look at it here. And so Buddy said that in his truck, he went and put in, he went to like Best Buy or someplace and had a new system put in on his front. So it was like Apple Play or something different. And so, but I don't think I want to spend money like that and have it all redone. I just think, you know, it's going to work through my Galaxy phone for phone calls and stuff, and I'll have my phone here for navigation, so I'll be fine with that. Anyway, it's beautiful, and it smells good, and it was taken such good care of. So when I got it open the back door when we were there, and he brought it around for us to test drive, and the first thing I did was open the back door to look at the feet room, and I'm gonna tell you, the feet room is crazy for Levi. He's got so much room. But I noticed in some of the places that's like a fabric, there's little black and white hairs. Like, I'm just gonna throw it out there, like Bandit. You know how he's black and white, Mom and Dad's Bandit. And they look like these little, but they're more stiff little wiry hairs, like a Chihuahua or something. So I don't know what kind of little dog it was, but they were little black and white hairs. And when Lou was looking at it after I got it home, and she goes, oh yeah, they're down in the little holes by the seatbelt clickers, and because that's fabric down in there too. But I'm just gonna get some kind of Bree said she had a brush to get pet hair off of furniture. So I'm going to see about using that and getting it off. But it's really not that bad. But I did tell Mom, I said, some little old man. I said, I just pictured, for some reason my mind said it was a little man. I don't know if it was or not. But I said, some little old man didn't go anywhere in this truck. He bought this truck for him and his little dog. And they went 3,000 miles a year is all they went. It's probably from here to Cleveland every day. Or every 2 or 3 days. And so I was just like, I'm just so blessed. So blessed. So, oh my gosh. Look at this beauty. Somebody's been to CarMax. Look at this beauty. Somebody has picked up a beautiful truck. Yeah. Yeah, they did. Maybe I'll call her Miss Lori. Oh, these nasty little centipedes. Look at the space. Woo! Have a party in here. Party! Levi can rest his little arm right here as we're driving. He can have 2 sodas here. He can plug in his tablet when it runs low. He can put 2 sodas right here. This pops out. 2 sodas right here. I can sleep right here if I wanted to. There's my jack. I don't know what these things are for. Like they hang trash bags on, but that don't make sense. I don't know what that's for. Just pop this. I've got a basket coming. I come out and measured from the front of this down and then a little bit further back, and I've got a basket that's going to slide underneath there and hold all my stuff. The stuff you keep in a car, like dash wipes and Armor All and show y'all. I've already, this one goes up too. So when they're both up, it's a lot of room back here for cargo, but I already got a bag back here, some Armor All wipes back here, leather wipes. Just stuck back there, but it's a lot of room underneath for stuff. It's just so pretty. Somebody let somebody have a nice car. And this will hold 6 passengers because this actually sits up and it's the back of a seat in the front part. Which I told Buddy I wanted to take the headrest off. I'll show you, but it won't come off. I already looked. See how it's actually a seat? When you put it up into seat position. Oh. It's heavy. Okay, so you put it up into seat position. Here's your little latch right here to push it back down. But you also have a little latch here, and you've got more storage down here underneath this. But here's the, so that's why I said I wanted to take, if I could take this off, because when it's down, it overhangs the cup holder a little bit. But I looked at it and I can't see a way to take it off. So I guess it's just gonna stay on. Anyway, it's beautiful. Look how far up my seat is. My legs are so short. It's a pretty truck. I'm so blessed. All right. Anyway, I'm in love with it. So, just so happy. Jesus has very much blessed me with this truck. So, I hope y'all love it like I do. Levi will be, I'm not lying. I pulled in to let Debbie see it because I've got to take Debbie either the 20th or the 21st, or maybe even both days if she can't get somebody to take her one and I take her the other. So I pulled in over there and I honked. She came out. She goes, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I love it. And I said, Debbie, she was standing right here and she goes, oh my gosh, look how far Levi is going to be back there. And I said, I know, Debbie, it's like if we were in the expedition, he would be in 3rd row. I mean, I know it's not that far, but it looks so far. It just, there's so much space. And she said, yeah, it looks like he's so far back, like another set of seats could be there. And I said, I know, it's crazy. I just love it. I love that it's got so much room back there for him. This truck is for Levi. I'll just benefit from it. All right, love you guys. God bless y'all. See you later. Katie, I'm trying to do a video.